Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 4th of October, 2016, and you are in the right place. You are in Sportuccino. We are live on Facebook, facebook.com on Sportuccino. It's great to have you here on the show, and I am so glad to have you here on Sportuccino. If you want to get involved in the conversation, all you've got to do is go to, I'm live here. I'm live on the phone. All you've got to do is put in the hashtag Sportuccino and also put in your comments on facebook.com/Sportuccino. We'd love to get you involved on today's show. And what a packed show have we got for you today. We'll be talking to a body transformation coach, Iain Pritchard. We'll also be discussing the big stories of the day, including a 48-team FIFA World Cup and Swansea's new manager. But let's get to it. Let's start with the morning's headlines. Gianni Infantino says he wants a 48-team World Cup. Swansea appoint Bob Bradley after sacking Francesco Guidolin. Maria Sharapova will find out if her 2-year ban for using meldonium will be overturned by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And Tyson Fury retires and then unretires in a matter of hours on Twitter. So as I mentioned, this is your show. I want you to be involved. Well, if you've got any questions for our guests coming up in just a moment, put them on Twitter, hashtag Sportuccino, or in the comments on this live Facebook page. It's with Iain Pritchard. He is a body transformation coach. If you don't know what a body transformation coach is, we'll be asking him in just a moment. And if you have any personal fitness or bodybuilding, or if you're trying to lose weight or any kinds of nutrition questions to ask him, please put them on the Twitter page with the hashtag Sportuccino. So much to go in this show today. We're going to be talking about whether there should be a 48-team World Cup. And you know what? That is today's poll on Twitter. I want to know what you think about having a 48-team World Cup. Is it a good idea? Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, thinks it is. There's talk that it'll be 48 teams. It will go into a knockout, and then there'll be 32 teams, and it'll be back into the group stages like we have known before. So here is the poll. Would you like to see a 48-team FIFA World Cup? And you either put yes or no. It's that simple. It's that type of poll. It's on our Twitter page at Sportuccino. My personal thoughts are, actually, you know what? I don't want to see that. You know, if you look at the Euros, for example, I thought they kind of sucked a bit because 24 teams, there were too many kind of weak teams in this tournament. Iceland were great, and I loved all the clapping thing they did and everything like that. But, they played negative football. I'm going to be controversial here. Wales did really well. Yeah, they got that win over Belgium, and they got further than England, fair play. But go back to that game against England, for example. They were so defensive. They were so negative. It was really not a fun way to watch football. And there were many other games where teams just set out to defend. And I think if we get 48 teams in the World Cup, you're going to get more minnows and more teams playing defensive football. And it's not going to be very exciting viewing. Obviously, Infantino is looking to please all the members of FIFA around the world, and it's part of his promise to expand the tournament. But I'm not really sure this is the right thing to do. So if you have any views on whether we should have a 48-team World Cup, put them in the comments below. Put them on the hashtag Twitter. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So just a reminder, today's poll is, would you like to see a 48-team FIFA World Cup? It's on our Twitter page at Sportuccino. And of course, yesterday's poll was, will Tottenham win the English Premier League this season? 22% of you said yes, but it's a resounding no. 78% of you think Spurs aren't going to win the league. In fact, one of the comments I saw yesterday on the comments page on the show after it was published was that, Spurs will never win the league because they'll never finish above Arsenal. They missed out on that chance last season. So it looks like you, the fans of Sportuccino, don't think Tottenham will win the English Premier League this season. Now, just before I get to our guest today, I want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by Matt Parro. Matt Parro is an award-winning magician. Would you like to see amazing magic that you'll never forget in your whole entire life? Well, Matt Parro can do that for you. If you want to learn more about him, all you've got to do is go to his website. That's mattparro.com. You can also follow him on Twitter at Matt Parro. Matt Parro is today's sponsor of Sportuccino. Thank you very much to him for sponsoring this show. If you want to sponsor the show, it's really easy. All you've got to do is send me an email, sportsdesk@Sportuccino, and perhaps we can get you involved on the show. Now, it's that time to introduce my guest for today. Iain Pritchard is a body transformation coach, and let's get him up on the screen now. Iain, welcome to Sportuccino. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, Richard. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, Iain, tell us exactly what a body transformation coach is and what they do.
Yeah, so body transformation coach, it's like having a personal trainer, but it's the next level. So I explain to my clients that coming on and working alongside me that my specialty is getting you the results that you need in the quickest possible time. And this is the key thing here, without the dreaded slip-ups back into old habits. And that's the thing that I think most clients are looking for, is they can get the results, but they then struggle to maintain it after the initial honeymoon period, as it were. So my specialties are helping people lose fat, get better, and ultimately upgrading themselves. Because let's face it, everybody loves an upgrade, whether it's a mobile phone, whether it's the latest bit of tech, whether it's the latest update on an app. Everybody loves to upgrade. And it implies that you're not changing, because people don't necessarily like to change. But if you upgrade yourself, we want to become the best version of ourselves we possibly can. And by having a body transformation coach such as myself, we work with you with your body and mind as the same system. So we do a lot of mindset coaching, as we've seen in football and in the rugby and different sporting events, that sports psychology is becoming much more powerful, and it's making that 1 or 2%, which means winning or losing. And when it comes down to the general public that aren't athletes as such, it's that mentality, that mental edge, that's going to get you the better results. That if we can unpick some of the mental blocks, limiting beliefs, fat loss, weight loss, body upgradings, they are going to be so much easier to get.
Well, Iain, you mentioned people don't like change, and is that a typically British thing? Is that something us Brits don't like? Is it, do we fear change? I know when I think about football, whenever anyone wants to change anything to do with football, whether it's a stadium or the team's colours or anything like that, everyone's protesting and people don't like it. So do you think it's a British thing? And what would you say is your top tip for people to try and embrace change?
So yeah, it could be British. It might be a worldwide thing potentially as well. That we like familiarity as people. We like to know where we are, what we're doing. We don't like the unknown. It's like we don't necessarily use the word. We don't like the dark as such, that we can't see in the dark. But in the daylight, everything seems better. That's why scary movies, they make us in the dark. They play on edge with our senses, and that's why they're scary. So sometimes change can be scary. I would say that the biggest thing going forward, that to get over change or to have a look at it, is set yourself a challenge, because you're not necessarily going through change as such, that you're going from a good habit to a bad habit. It's, if I set myself a challenge, can I achieve this? You're then going to, you know roughly where you're going, you know the end result that you want to get, and you're working towards that, rather than if you're trying to change yourself, you're trying to walk away from something and you don't really know where you're going. So to try and embrace change is set a realistic target for you to go forwards and go, right, I know I can get there. This is what it's going to feel like. And you sort of, what we call future pace, is you go out and test it out. It's like buying a new car. You don't just suddenly walk into a dealership and drop your ready straight on and go, I'll buy that one. You sort of talk about it. You go out for a test drive. You say, well, this option, that option. You experience the product that you're going to get. Now with body transformations, that's my role to try and allow you to experience the change that you want to get, and sort of, one for a better word, try it on for size. So we're not necessarily changing you, we're upgrading yourself. And that's the first sort of roadblock that you need to unlock to start getting the results that you truly want to get, really.
Well, they talk about you can change a habit in 21 days. I read an excellent book by Charles Duhigg about the power of habit and how you can change these things. Do you think 21 days is a long enough period for someone to change some kind of habit?
Yes, yeah. Well, all the research suggests that. I think it's between 21 and 28 days. But as long as you focus on that one or two habits, many people get overwhelmed and go, right, let's take, for example, we've just come off the holidays, school's all back. Most people go, you know what, I'm going to start a diet. It's the 2nd January of the year. So what do people do? They go, right, I'm going to have Friday night. I know I'm going to start Monday. So Friday night, let's have a takeaway. Saturday, let's go out with the boys or the family or the girls, etc. I'll have a few beers. So Sunday, you wake up hungover potentially, and you go, oh, I'm just going to finish what I've got in my fridge. Monday morning comes, and you're just going to go cold turkey. That's it going forwards. Then you're going to be like, right, I've got to get my water in. I've got to get my healthy fats in. I've got to get no carbs in. I've got to get protein in. I've got to do X. I've got to do Y at the gym. I've got to run 5 miles every day, as well as work, as well as do family, as well as keep up with all the sport, etc. So actually it's too much. Whereas in 21 days, you can change habits. My personal thing is, and when I work with clients, is I get them to change 1 to 2 habits every single week, and we build on those habits over a period of time. So by the end of 21 days, they've at least mastered 2 or 3 habits that they now have got them and embraced them, and there's no changing those. Then after that, we then build another 21 days and build up slowly but surely. By let's say 12 weeks time, you've got 40 new different habits that you've got that you wouldn't have had, but little by little you build up. So I'm in agreement with you, Richard, there.
Now, you mentioned diet there, Iain. One of the things I recently did is I went gluten-free and cut out things such as pasta, which included wheat, and I looked more carefully at breakfast cereals, for example. I didn't have any any cereals. I would only go gluten-free muesli. That's what I'd have in the morning, or gluten-free porridge. When I spoke to my doctor, and I said to the doctor, I've decided to go gluten-free on the advice of my personal trainer, and he's given me some information about it. And when I asked my doctor, he said, oh, well, that's very fashionable, isn't it? And he wasn't quite so convinced. What's your thoughts on going gluten-free?
Well, I'm gluten-free myself, and I have been for the last, 15 years or so now. So before it was fashionable. That there is, you can take, my views are, it's good for the right person. So if we go back to sort of diet, if you're, the first 3 letters of diet are die, so generally it doesn't set us up for great things. So going gluten-free, if you've got an intolerance or you've got something like celiac disease, then that's brilliant. I know Djokovic went gluten-free for a while, and so did Andy Murray in the tennis. And Djokovic got on much better than Andy Murray did. So actually, at that level of sport, the little difference makes the biggest impact. My views coming back to gluten-free, if you find that it's useful and you feel that you've got more energy, you're less bloated, you're less tired, you're performing better in your workplace, at your sports teams, in life in general, then maintain that. But it might be the fact that you've overdosed in gluten and wheat, because let's face it, for breakfast, most people will have cereal or toast, which is gluten and wheat loaded. For lunchtime, they might go out for a pasta dish or sandwich dish. And then in the evening, they might have some bread-based or pasta-based or heavy carbohydrate-based evening meal. So actually, we're getting too much all of the time. And if you overdose in something, your body gets very sluggish, it slows down, it starts to not work as efficiently. So if people want to maybe go gluten-free, I wouldn't necessarily say change from a gluten cereal to a gluten-free cereal. I'd say go from a carbohydrate-based cereal to a high protein. So you've got like eggs, smoked salmon, avocados, a little bit of bacon, things like that will be much better way to start the day than just changing gluten foods to gluten-free foods. But I'm not here to say one thing is better than the other. It's personal preference. And unfortunately, it has got a bit of a high publicity because certain celebrities and certain sports stars have gone on the bandwagon. So as we know, if Wayne Rooney wore a particular T-shirt, or even like David Beckham when he wore Super Dry T-shirt once, obviously other brands are available, that set their path alight because he's a brand ambassador. So if you've got high profile people going on gluten-free diets or no carb diets or whatever it might be, there's going to be a certain amount of trend behind that people are going to do it just because somebody else is doing it. Whereas you might have noticed from going gluten-free, did you feel that you got any energy back? Did you feel that you were sleeping better? Did you feel that you were less bloated around your stomach?
Well, I saw some results from that, but when I went gluten-free in, I went gluten and dairy-free at the same time. And okay, this is a little bit embarrassing, a little bit personal for Facebook Live, for Sportuccino, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm Richard Parro. I do what I want sometimes. And was farting less, I'll be honest. I was passing less gas. And actually in the last 2 weeks, I was, because of everything in the prep towards putting Sportuccino together, I ate quite badly. I had a few beers at the weekend, and that kind of returned. So I'm not going to ask you whether you think it makes people fart more or less. I think that's a bit too crude for the show. But what I want to ask is your thoughts on going dairy-free and lactose-free. Again, is that something which you think is important for people to get that body transformation?
Yeah, it's coming back to I sort of get two-prong approach. Dairy-free, yeah, there's huge amounts of hormones that are pumped into milk now and into animal products. But then saying that milk is useful for people because it builds strong bones, calcium that you've got in there, everything like that. So it depends, again, how much you're having. Do you know what I mean? If you're having pints and pints and pints of it, then you're probably overloading. You're not getting the right levels of vitamins and minerals throughout the rest of your diet. You're ODing in one area. For me, when I work with clients, I look at stripping the diet back to basics, and the first sort of phase is we look at trying to neutralize the system. So there's not necessarily the acid or alkaline system or anything like that. It's about neutralizing. It's about bringing everything back down to a base level, because you might have overdosing in dairy or gluten and having some of the effects that you've mentioned, bloating, etc. And then you might be very deficient in greens and leafy vegetables, or antioxidants and things like that you need to boost up. But they can't have a chance if you've got things up at this level. So we need to bring those down. And sometimes by taking dairy out, gluten out, will just bring everything down and just allow our body to calm back to basics, because dairy's in a lot of things that we don't realize. I expect when you started going gluten-free and dairy-free, you were probably one of those people in the supermarket that were constantly reading the back of labels and thinking, oh, I used to have that. Oh, it's got
that was the worst.
Dairy in
that
it.
Was the worst thing.
I can't have that.
Especially with the gluten-free stuff in. It was so frustrating. And even now I'm still looking at labels. Can I have this? And it can be pretty stressful. Like, for example, now, after a few weeks, you kind of get used to what you can and what you can't have. And for example, I always have almond milk and things like that. So yeah, it can be a little bit stressful when it comes to that. Ian, we're running out of time. If anyone from Facebook who's watching the show live has any questions for Ian, we've got a few more minutes with him. So put it on Facebook, on the comments below, on the hashtag Sportuccino. You know, this is a personal trainer. This guy costs hundreds of pounds to work with, or thousands of pounds depending on who you are. And he's giving his time for you right now where you can learn to be a better person. You can transform your body. So if you've got any questions for Iain, use the hashtag Sportuccino, put a comment in Facebook, let us know what you would like to learn from Iain. Iain, one of the things I made a change with also was using brand new apps. There's so many fitness apps on the market these days, on your mobile phone, on your tablet devices. Are there any in particular that you personally recommend?
Yeah, there's two really that I thoroughly enjoy using myself, which is the Jawbone wristband. That obviously there's different models and makes and things. Obviously that's fantastic for like tracking your sleep, tracking your steps, your heart rate, things like that. So it's just a nice, gentle reminder, and you can go, right, I've done 8,000 steps. The daily amount or guidelines are 10,000. And then I also use MyFitnessPal because you can track a lot of things on there as well, not just calories and food. You can actually track a lot of data. Those are my two sort of favorite ones that I use a lot with clients and also myself, which they're great. But there's hundreds of apps out there that you can use that can track. And the best thing I find about all these apps in general and fitness trackers is it gives you a base level where you are now. Then you can actually see in a few weeks' time, are you better or worse? Or you can actually go, actually, I'm only getting 5,000 steps. No wonder I'm not losing weight as best as I could be, because I'm not being as active, or I'm not getting very good many hours sleep. It's quite interrupted. Let me work on that. So that's when your nutrition can come in and be better as well.
Exactly, and I actually use MyFitnessPal myself, and I'll be doing a review of it on Sportuccino coming soon, because we do sports product reviews every day on Sportuccino. At the moment, products I personally use, but I'll also be inviting companies to send their products for me to give a review, an impartial review on what I think of it. Iain, we're running out of time. Just before we go, I'd like to know from you how people can continue to follow you and continue to get this great knowledge from you, and where they can find you on social media or on any websites, or all of that information, please, Iain.
Yeah, perfect. Well, obviously, first of all, thank you very much for letting me come on, Richard. It's been an absolute pleasure. And for all the Sportuccino listeners, what I'd like to do is give away something for free. And it's my 7-day survival guide that I brought it out over the summer because a lot of clients were going away, and I thought, right, how can I help them get the best possible results 7 days before a holiday, and also what to do when they come back from it. And it was fantastic. Clients enjoyed it so much. I thought, right, this content is gold. I want to give it away for free now. So it's a 7-day survival guide. And within that, you're going to get my shopping lists, my recipes, and all the meal plans that you need for 7 days. So you know exactly what you need to eat, when, if you're worried about that. You're also going to get workouts to do that. I show you how to do the best possible workouts. And you can also get to join my private Facebook group for free. And basically, I upload loads of content in there daily to try and help you with your mindset, with your habits, so you get direct access to me. Now, that's better than anything that I've offered anywhere else at all before. But if you want to know, I'll leave you the link at the bottom, so when people watch this in a replay, they can jump on board as well. But you can find me on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. So Twitter, my handle is @360HFT. Search on Facebook 360 HFT, which is the company that I run, which is 360 Health and Fitness Therapy. And then Instagram, I'm Iain_Pritchard. So if you want to jump on board, that'd be fantastic. But like I say, Richard, for all your listeners and all your viewers, I'd like to give away my 7-day survival guide for free. And I'll leave you a link later on so they can download that for absolutely nothing.
Well, that's awesome, Iain. We've learned so much from you. I'm already following you on Twitter. I'm looking to learn more great stuff from you. Thank you so much for your time today, Iain.
Thank you.
Iain Pritchard there from 360hft.com. So much information there from him, the body transformation coach. Just a reminder, today's show is brought to you by Matt Parro, the award-winning magic. Would you like to see amazing magic that you'll never forget in your whole life? Well, award-winning magician Matt Parro can do that for you. All you've got to do is go to mattparro.com. You can also follow him on Twitter @MattParro. Some incredible videos on his website, tricks you just Can't believe your eyes from, it's really good, mattparro.com. Thank you so much for him for being today's sponsor. You can be a sponsor yourself. Sports Desk at sportuccino.com. We would love to have you. Well, of course, there are so many different things on our own website, sportuccino.com, including this. So, on Sportuccino today, we are discussing whether there should be a 48-team World Cup. It's the wish of FIFA President Gianni Infantino. He wants to get 48 teams involved in a World Cup. What do you think of that idea? I personally don't like it. I don't think it's a very good idea. It's our poll on Twitter today. Let's take a look at it. Well, that's yesterday's poll. Why we've got yesterday's poll still up there, I don't know. But you'll see that Tottenham won't win the Premier League according to you viewers, but our poll today is, would you like to see a 48-team FIFA World Cup? We are live. It is Sportuccino. These things are going to happen, aren't they? We are completely live on Sportuccino. Now, this part of the show is our product review. I am talking about Reflex Instant Whey Pro. Again, it is a product I personally use, and let's take a look at it in a bit more detail here. Here it is, the Instant Whey Pro. Every time we exercise, damage is caused to our muscle tissue. Protein is needed to maintain and grow the muscle, and Instant Whey Pro delivers an exceptional source of protein to help aid your goals. Now, those are not my words, obviously. Those are the words of Reflex, a company which is actually based in Brighton. And you know what I love about Instant Whey Pro is basically it's really tasty. Now I've got some of it here. Let's give it a bit of a shake. I'm running out of hands here. Oh, it's spilling everywhere. It's going on the system. If we crash, it's my fault. Sorry everybody, but let's give it a taste. You can probably hear me gurgle that. Sorry for that. But I'll tell you what, it's really, really tasty. This isn't a Reflex bottle. It's a Maxi Muscle bottle. We'll talk about bottles another day. I don't want to talk about bottles today. That was quite refreshing. I actually needed that. It's just really tasty. It's cool. This one is called Instant Whey Pro Chocolate Perfection. I got the 900 grams version. That gives you about 36 servings in it. Let's have a closer look at exactly what they have, some of the nutritional information here. So you'll see that kind of per serving, you've got about 1.6 grams of carbs, but you've got 20 grams of protein. So it's really good for you. And the thing about Instant Whey, it's a vegetarian product, but as we were discussing with Ian, it's not necessarily suitable for vegans or celiacs. I've worked out it's definitely celiacs, not celiacs. And yeah, so that's the nutritional information there. And here is some of the ingredients involved. You will see that it does include milk, so it's not great if you're dairy free, but as it says, it is a vegetarian product. But crucially, when it comes to all of these products, it's not the headlines. Why I'm here is because it is really tasty. Now, DDP from ddpyoga.com. He is a yoga guru. He's a former professional wrestler, and he's tested all kinds of different products. And what he really likes is just basically products which do what they say on the jar, and also tastes really good. And this chocolate perfection, I don't think you can get a tastier protein shake on the market. It's one of the tastiest I think I've ever had. It's just like having a milkshake. The only thing I don't like is that when I went dairy free, that I stopped having it with milk and I had it with water. And I think anyone who's had any protein shakes realize that it's a bit tastier with the milk rather than water. But these are just things we get to and we learn. The one other thing, we're running out of time on Sportuccino. The show's flown by, so much information. One thing I don't like is you only get a little scoop. I prefer it when you have a bigger scoop for the protein shake, because you've got to scoop it out twice. You know, we're busy people. We want to learn. We want to go off and do our great things. So that is my product review on Reflex Whey Instant Pro. I really recommend you try it out. So just before we go, a reminder of our top headlines today. Gianni Infantino says he wants a 48-team World Cup. Swansea appoint Bob Bradley after sacking Francesco Guidolin. Maria Sharapova will find out if her 2-year ban for using meldonium will be overturned by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And Tyson Fury retires and then unretires in a matter of hours on Twitter. Okay, I'm getting a comment on Facebook and it's a little bit of abuse today. Grandad shirt, like it. I don't think this is a Grandad shirt. I think I look pretty cool. Maybe I look a little bit like something out of Star Trek or maybe a waiter. I'm not quite sure about that. If you've got any views on what I'm wearing today, put it in the comments page. Put it on hashtag Sportuccino. Well, we've had so much fun today. There's so much more we could be talking about. Continue the conversation on hashtag Sportuccino. Continue it when the video is replayed on Facebook, facebook.com/Sportuccino. Also check out the website, sportuccino.com. If you've been watching, thank you so much for your time. If you're watching the repeat, thank you for your time. And don't worry, we will be back again with more Sportuccino tomorrow morning. See you at 8.